Hi, welcome to Find Your Flow Yoga. I am Sarah, and today in our D&D series, we are covering the Paladin. So in D&D, the Paladin is someone who receives their power from, it's like divine power, so they receive it from a god, and they are very much moved to fight for justice and righteousness. They won't really fight for any reason at all. It has to be for something that they believe in. And that's the generic kind of beginning of a paladin. Throughout a story, things may change, but in the beginning, it's very much that they will fight for what is right. Otherwise, they're not going to fight at all. They do what is good. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing a gentle yoga flow, which is a little bit different from restorative, because in gentle yoga, our body is still going to be more activated in powerful poses and just holding them for a little bit of a longer amount of time, which will help. We're going to be getting into our hips and working our thighs, doing some warrior poses. And yeah, our location has changed because I have a big project in the living room that I just cannot move right now. So we have a new location. Hope you enjoy it, and let's just get into our paladin. So we're gonna get started in cat and cow first, warming up the spine. So coming into tabletop on our hands and knees. Checking for alignment, our core is engaged, shoulders over wrists, hips over our knees. Checking to make sure we don't see our toes. This is our neutral position, and we are going to inhale, dropping the belly, looking up to the sky, and cow. And exhale to cat, pulling that belly button through, pushing through the shoulder blades. Inhaling to cow, dropping the belly. Exhale, cat. Continuing to do this at your own breath. Feeling that articulation in the spine. Noticing what muscles are engaging. There's different areas of your body you can focus on. So going into cow, you can focus on your chest, pulling through. And then your shoulders pushing through the ground. You can also focus on that belly pulling through, opening up the front of your core. And then in cat, the whole spine curving. Or you can also move down to the sit bones in the bottom, the glutes, engaging those back legs. And then squeezing down into cat. Doing what feels good, exploring with them. And then coming back to a neutral position when you're ready. And let's tuck our toes under. And we're going to just sit back onto our heels just to wake up the feet, as they will be used a lot in yoga, as they are throughout life. Showing them some love. And inhaling, coming back up. And let's now adjusting your hands, we're going to step back into a high plank. Finding this alignment. Core is engaged. We're pushing through our shoulders while our clavicle, our chest is pulling forward. And once you're stable here, we're going to exhale, chaturanga, lowering our body down. And inhaling, upward facing dog. Taking this time to feel each articulation. No need to rush. And exhale, downward facing dog. Finding those adjustments you need. I like to step my feet a little bit closer. You can pedal out the feet, bending one knee at a time. Looking for that V shape in our body so that our sits bones, the meeting point of our upper and lower torso, are pointed towards the ceiling. We're pushing through our fingertips, helping our chest move towards our thighs. And let's shift forward into a high plank. And exhale, downward facing dog.
Finding that core engagement, waking up the shoulders. Going slowly with your breath, just to wake up the body a little bit more. And then staying back into downward facing dog. Bending the knees, looking up at the hands. Exhale, walking our feet up to a forward fold. You can bend your knees however much you need to. Just looking for a gentle stretch in the hamstrings and a release of the spine. You can grab opposite elbows. Rocking side to side, shaking your head, yes and no, releasing any tension in the neck and the shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to inhale, reverse swan dive, bending the knees, looking up, bringing up the hands as they follow. Inhale up to the sky, exhale, hands through heart center. Catching our breath here. Feeling rooted in the ground so our legs are still engaged. Our glutes are engaged, our core is engaged. Let's inhale the left arm up to the sky, bring the right hand on our hip. We're going to inhale up and exhale over to the right. Feel that stretch on the left side and maintaining that open space in the right. And inhale up, switching arms, left hand to hip, right arm up. Make sure the shoulders are pulled away from your ears. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale over to the right, or over to the left, opening up the right side. Keeping those hips over our ankles as much as we can. And inhale up. Exhale, arms down. And we're going to go into our poses. Let's inhale our arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We are going to step our left foot back. I like to step mine a little bit closer than normal. We're going to go into warrior one. So for alignment, our back foot is pointed at a 45-degree angle. So right in between, we have like warrior two, which is 90 degrees. A high lunge that's forward, facing the same direction as your front leg. This is kind of in between, kind of towards the corner of your mat. And then whatever your preference is, you can have your heels aligned, which makes it harder, or you can step your foot a little farther out to the left for a little more stability. And we're going to inhale our arms up to the sky, having a bend in that front leg. Finding that stability, it can be a bit shaky. And for checking with alignment in our hips, you can straighten that front leg real quick. And we want to make sure our hips are kind of like the headlights of a car, where they're both pointed forward and shining, they're parallel. And once you align your hips and your back foot is strong, pressing against that outer side of the foot, you can start to bend that front knee. And we want to get it over our ankle as close as we can. You could step your back foot a little closer to the front if need be. And finding that stability. You can inhale our arms up to the sky. We want to hold this here for a good amount of time. It's a great opener along that back leg. This pose helps build confidence as our chest is pulling forward. Our heart is raised and lifted. Feeling strong and steady in this pose. This is a kind of a difficult pose, so it may take a while to get, especially that back foot, to get that whole foot on the ground. Starting off, if this is a newer pose, you can make sure your toes are just pointing that direction, and if you're just on the balls of your feet, that's okay. We're working towards the direction of that whole foot on the ground. Checking in with the shoulders, making sure our shoulders are pulled away from our ears. Continuing to breathe. Using our mind's eye. Anytime we inhale, bringing that energy to a place that's feeling tight. A couple more breaths, doing a great job. This is a lot slower than normal, but our body is more activated. And inhaling those arms down. That back foot can turn facing forward. And let's step that left foot back to the front. In a nice forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, stepping back the right foot. Doing warrior one on the other side. Back foot is pointed 45 degrees. When you find that position, inhaling, arms up. And you can bend that front leg, checking for the alignment of the hips. Going parallel. So pulling forward on the right hip, back on the left. And bending that knee as far as you can. Finding that stability. And inhale, arms up. I don't need to put so much pressure on trying to get that back foot down if it's difficult. It's taken me a very, very long time to be able to put my whole foot on the ground. It's a newer thing for me. Because I don't normally do this pose often because it's a hard one. But there's a lot of benefits to it. Feeling confident, it's a different opening in your body. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Checking in with our shoulders, rolled back and away from our ears. Making sure in that front knee, you can still see at least your big toe. I'll make sure that knee is coming to the outside of the foot and not caving in. Doing a great job. Just evening out the other side. Even though our body is fully engaged, our mind and our awareness is relaxed and calm. We're just focusing on the breath and letting our body do the rest of the work. A couple more breaths. And exhale the arms down. Let's bring that right foot up to the top. Back in that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Let's shake this out of our body a little bit, planting the hands and stepping the feet back into a plank. We're gonna go through our vinyasa, finding that alignment in our high plank. Exhale, chaturanga, lowering our body down, elbows tucked in. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Giving our bodies a break, finding a good release. Now let's inhale, looking at our hands. Exhale, walking our feet up to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Now we are going to step our left foot back We'll go into this in a smoother way, so we're in a low lunge. Inhale our arms up to a high lunge, checking in that alignment with our knee in the front. Make sure you can still see that big toe. And we're gonna go into a warrior two. Exhale, turning that back foot 90 degrees. Feet are perpendicular. I like my heel to be aligned with the arch of my back foot. Some people do heel to heel, whatever feels better for you. And you can adjust your stance as well. If you like to work on the hips, you can straighten that front leg. And we want our hips facing, for me, my purpose is the wall, facing the length of your mat. You want it to be aligned that way. Hips are tucked under. And then exhale, bending that knee again. So there's more of an opening in your hip. Core is engaged. We're gonna roll the shoulders down our back. And in order to keep our arms aligned and finding strength in our arms, you want to picture energy coming out both ends. So it's kind of like you're a tug of war rope being pulled opposite ends. And that ensures alignment through the arms. And we're just gonna hold it here, building power. Checking our rib alignment. I just caught myself leaning forward. We wanna be, our ribs are stacked over our hips. A couple more breaths. This is a hard one. And inhale, up to high lunge. Exhale, placing the hands down. I think my foot was slipping, so my stance kept getting wider. Let's step that left foot back to the top. Forward fold. Feel a little difference in our hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And we're gonna do the other leg, stepping that right leg back. High lunge. Inhale, arms up to the sky. This is the high lunge. And then exhale, rotating that back foot. Checking alignment here, adjusting your stance. We move from the feet up, so I'm checking in where your feet are aligned, pressing into the outer pinky toe bone, the edge of your foot. And we're checking in with the hips, making sure they're parallel, facing this way. Ribs stacked over hips. Bending that knee. Rolling shoulders back. Arms out. Energy coming out both sides. Making sure that you can see your big toe in that front foot. And then looking over, your gaze going right past your middle finger in the front. Heart is pulling upwards and forwards. Continuing to hold it here. Doing a great job. Building new openings, new muscles. Couple more breaths. And inhale, back to high lunge, rotating that back foot. Exhale, placing hands down. Let's step that left foot back to high plank. Exhale, chaturanga down, lowering our body. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walking out the legs a little bit. Pushing that heart through towards your thighs. And we're gonna go into dolphin pose. If this is something that's newer to you, and it isn't something that's happening for you today, you can just stay in downward facing dog. But if you'd like to go a little further, dolphin is just basically downward facing dog, but on our forearms. So lowering the forearms down to the ground, keeping those hips up, and it's pushing more through the shoulders. Engaging your fingertips, especially your pointer fingers and thumbs. Holding this for a little bit longer. Hips still pointed to the sky. Couple more breaths. And exhale, lowering the knees. Let's sit back into a child's pose so our big toes are together. Then you can widen the knees out as far as comfortable. Sitting back to your heels. Placing your third eye on the mat. And arms can be extended. And finding your breath here. Feeling your belly expanding when you inhale. Pressing into your thighs. And sinking deeper as you exhale. And also noticing your back expand as you inhale. Because our breath causes a cylindrical expansion. It's not just a forward movement or a backward movement. It's forward, back, side to side. In a whole circle. And when you're ready, start to press into your fingers, walking your hands back as you come to a seated position. Let's make our way onto our butts. I want to just do a butterfly pose. Feeling a little bit more open in the hips. Checking the alignment with our spine, making sure we are lifted. And we're going to bring the bottom of our feet together. And they could be placed farther out if your hips are tight. If your hips are a little bit more open, bring them closer in. But keeping that heart lifted, that's the most important part. And then letting your knees fall wherever they fall. And if you'd like a little bit of a deeper stretch, keeping that spine lengthened, we're just going to hinge at the hips, bringing the belly button towards the feet. Making sure our hips are still on the ground, so we're not lifting. Keeping our heart forward, spine is still aligned. Just going as far as is comfortable for you. Might be easier to go a little farther since we opened up the hips a lot today. If you can go onto your forearms for more of a stretch. And then when you've reached as far as you're able to go today, you can start to lower your head and allow your spine to curve just a little bit, as far as it does naturally when you release your head. And that'll be different for everyone, and that's okay. And still pay attention to your breath. What direction is your torso moving in? And can you direct that breath to fill all sides of your torso? Couple more breaths here. Breathing through it if this is uncomfortable. Making sure shoulders are still away from our ears. Setting your breath in places that feel tight. Yoga is all about breathing through tension. Breathing through things that make us feel stressed. As hard as it gets, as long as we're breathing, we will make it through. And inhale. Coming back up. You can bring your knees together, releasing. And we're going to make our way onto our back to close out our practice. Taking your time. There's no rush. Feeling our back meet the mat. For the first time, the mat is rising up to meet us. And let's just extend the legs out. Arms are also extended out into Shavasana. Closing your eyes or finding a distant focal point. It's like a lazy focus in the eyes. Pay attention to how your body feels. Doing a body scan. Do you feel bits of energy running through your body, particularly in your thighs and hips? Maybe in your feet? Bringing your attention to your face. Are you holding tension anywhere in the forehead, in your eyes, behind your eyeballs, in your cheeks, in your lips, in your jaw? I find it very hard. I feel like my forehead and like eye sockets are very tense all the time. And I'm only just beginning to learn how to release that and what that feels like. It's a lot of surrender. And every inhale you feel that power coming in you. In the mindset of a Paladin, this is divine power. Seeking justice. Fighting for what's right. Letting that power fill you up, making you stronger. Finding that sense of self, that balance within you, the power you hold within. to start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Your wrists and your ankles. And in your elbows and your knees. Moving your hips and your shoulders, you can go into a big stretch in your whole body. And then making your way over to your right side in a fetal position. Feeling a bit stronger, a bit more powerful, a bit more in control. Just inhale, lifting our torso up from the ground, coming into a comfortable seat. Eyes are still closed if possible. Bring our hands onto our knees, feeling grounded. On your inhale, lifting your hands up so palms are facing upwards. And receiving low, ready to receive power and strength. Releasing the tension in your face. Let's inhale, arms up to the sky in a big inhale. Bringing our hands together, exhale our hands through heart center. Thank you for joining me in the practice today, finding that inner power as a paladin, bringing strength to our body, opening our hips. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and namaste.